I love just seeing the message notification on Discord as we're introducing this match. I'm like, who's messaging me? And I look up and it's OSW. Like, that's great. I love that. I love that. All right.
Oh, we are getting into the matchup. It's time. Reminder once again, these are first to 7. And it's... Okay, no, that is not a PCO. That is, in fact,
I thought that was PCO for a sec. Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of people who aren't as familiar with 6-3, me, I noticed that I always want to soft drop at the beginning, and that's something that I think separates the top players from people who don't know how to 6-3, is just not relying on soft drop at all. So it's odd to see OSW soft drop that first piece, and so we thought that they were going for an opener, but they were not. And we both have these players doing pretty normal phase 1 gameplay. Doremy starting out this zone with a cut copy, and this is going to be pretty cut and dry so far.
Yeah, that makes sense. One of the benefits of 6-3 is just how much pacing you get, but that pacing does kind of get ruined when you're being forced to soft drop. And we're going to see 60 plus ultis from both players, but OSW with that pre-pressure is going to send a little bit of lines over to Doremy's side. But Doremy's going to go ahead and just 6-3 on top of it. Nope, they do find that skim when they need it.
Yeah, and both players utilizing IRS to their advantage there. I love that game mechanic so much. I think it is so fun. Such a great part of TEC, and we are going to see OSW with this 9-0 stack trying to maybe have a zoneless transition here. It looks like that's what he's going for.
Well, they did also just get maxed, so they might just be looking for that overstack. Yeah, now that they have a decent enough overstack, they're going to fire it as well. But we've both been very vocal about our love for IRS, and we're going to see a bunch of that as these players are very experienced with the zone.
Yeah, and we do see a little bit of damage on Doremy's board, but this is still pretty much even so far at the start of phase 3. OSW with a couple of misdrops, a little bit of hesitation as Doremy is setting up a TST tower.
Love to see it, truly.
Love to see it. Moment. And that is a lot of pressure from that onto OSW's board as he is forced to quarter zone and work through this.
And OSW's gonna set up a mini side ties, and oh no, those misdrops.
Yeah, just the OP's locking in at the top of the board there is going to cause round 1 into Doremy's favor. And Blair, thank you so much for the raid. Hello everyone. So what's going on here is Wiley has COVID, and so he was supposed to commentate this tournament, but I told him no. I kicked him out of the call. I said, you need to go rest in bed. And so this is Galactic Division 1 playoffs top 6. And Wiley is watching from bed. So if you do see him typing, wish him some good luck with his recovery because he is so dead right now. But anyways, yeah, we have this. Wiley, get out of the call.
Thanks for the raid. Oh yeah, I just want to
Wiley, get out of. Go back.
Thanks for the raid. Thanks.
Oh my god. Yeah, as Wiley said, as Lyra said, welcome Raiders. You picked a very nice time to join. It is a little bit late to say this, but Doremy actually ended up starting with an MS2 here, and that made it so they weren't allowed to 6-3 afterwards, but that did give them an easier time in getting to their defined well.
Yeah, and Doremy doing that was a great ulti. The way that he was able to work around that to get the ulti solved there was just absolutely clinical, and OSW is looking for the same. That is an ulti, almost a curve there from OSW, and we do see us getting close to that phase 3 transition.
Yeah, both of these players very experienced with the zone. We're going to see that these zones just ended, and we're not even going to see a second before the phase transitions.
Definitely not. Like you said, suffering from success of those strong zones, of that strong, efficient gameplay. And so we're not really going to see that zone into the phase 3 transition because we are already well into phase 3. And yes, Doremy is starting that second zone here.
Yes, Doremy is going to be starting this zone in disadvantage, and OSW is going to have a full zone to respond with and actually sees the light of day on their attack, so Doremy might be gearing up to do some canceling.
Right, and for those of you who did just join from the raid, these players did tell me that they are in fact playing this in a call together right now. These players are very close with each other, and so this is a fun matchup to watch knowing that history.
And that's an 8 combo from Doremy. That's definitely going to do some to equalize it, especially when they do have the zone advantage.
Yeah, Doremy working through this IRS and OSW trying to close this round out with this 9-0 kind of sprint speed going on here. All right, taking it into that side well or the center well for efficiency there. And Doremy's pushed up at the top of the board here, even though he has that full zone, can't really make full use of it right now.
Yeah, they have been working through this board state quite nicely. You've been seeing them do some setups and find some very nice bails when they didn't have the time, and OSW is gonna find that kill shot.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised here that 2 rounds in, this is already a no sweep because, like I said, these players are both so strong.
And just a reminder that, just due to the nature of a tournament, one of these very high-level players are going to have to go to the loser's bracket after this, which is insane to see one of these names in the loser's bracket.
OSW taking multiple singles to get that perfect clear and still accepting garbage is just something there.
Doremy was looking for a PC there, couldn't find it, but look at how much they have in that garbage column.
Yeah, and Doremy with the 7-2 stack right now, OSW being given the 1-8 garbage, not our favorite here, and so Doremy is going to be at the slight advantage with that, is going to start the zone a little high on the board.
Especially with that well swap, looking pretty dependent. Actually, just gonna top out. They definitely had ways around, but it looks like they're just here that was playing from OSW.
I don't know if that was one extra rotate on that J piece, whether or not that was a mistake, but they may just be going for the overstack after zone to try to have a bit more to defend with, and I mean...
They actually just don't receive at all.
Yeah, don't receive at all. Doremy just puts that attack onto OSW's board. And we do see a little bit of a slower start to the round, as insane as it is to say that that's a slow start, meaning that we are not going to see that zoneless transition here, most likely.
It is going to be very interesting to see what the players do when a zone transition is on the board. We're going to see one of the more important interactions in the game. And Doremy's going to fire first.
Yeah, Doremy starting that zone, definitely pushing us past that 60,000 mark by the time this ends. Has PC parity. I wonder if he'll use it. But OSW is going to start that zone after that phase 3 mark. We see him starting that zone at 60,000 points. That mainly changes the amount of time you have for the zone, and that just straight up doesn't matter for OSW because of who he is as a person. And we're going to see a 61 and 19, and that's going to put a lot onto Doremy's board, and that's so difficult to come back from right instantly.
Yeah, that's higher attack than a lot of ultis, and they got it in 19. Doremy's gonna be on the back foot here, gonna find some combo, and that's gonna let them live, but they still don't have as much space as they would want.
And this is what I'm talking about. This is why OSW is favored in this matchup, being such a strong player. When he is able to find that attack, find that efficiency that he's known for, then he is just so difficult to beat.
I feel like now is a good time than Eddie to start spamming those OSW copy pastas that we love so much.
Oh my gosh, I love the OSW copy pasta. It's such a good one.
Very cool donation from OSW, and Doremy is still trying their best to survive. Finds a 6 combo, which is going to give them some more space to find even more combo. Finds a quarter as well to survive, but OSW does have that full in the back charge.
Yeah, Doremy sets up that cut copy with no T-piece in sight, finds a nice skim to continue to take that, but OSW is trying to close this out here, spamming out attack, and that's a very nice tuck to find that T-spin there from OSW. I think that I love OSW stacking because it's so creative.
Yeah, that was 49 incoming from OSW, and after that misdraw from Doremy, even if they did get those skims down, they did just have a hole in their stack, and there's not too much you can do there. OSW is going to find that kill shot.
Right, and being able to close out a round is something that seems so easy in theory, but is so difficult to do when your opponent can just chain quarter zones. And so that's something that these top players have to be really good at executing, and OSW is one of the best in that category.
Yeah, another thing that really changes in Phase 3 is just how many lines you have to clear. I believe it's 10 per quarter in Phase 3.
Yeah.
Which sounds ridiculous, but at this level, you just have the speed to actually deal with it, so you get some really interesting new dynamics and interactions because of it.
Yeah, OSW like just throwing a ton of pieces into that well to try to stay alive. This is going to be a fast zone here from them, but both players starting zone at the same time. OSW is going to end zone early. Yeah, slightly inefficient from OSW side. They're going to need to find
for the overstack, and they are going to find the 67 ulti.
Yeah, this is going to put OSW in an awkward spot. Wait, he's not even zoning? Okay, he just tanks it without zoning. Okay, never mind. That OSW just gets out of that unscathed because, again, of who he is as a person.
Yeah, they had the opportunity to take that T placement vertically in order to extend their combo by 1, but that would have covered their well, so very nice for them to recognize that. and do that survival down stack. And both players are coming up on a full zone now, so we might see actual zone interactions on that transition.
Right, and I would expect Doremy to favor using the zone to transition, whereas OSW seems to so far prefer to transition before that zone, maybe just because he's way more comfortable playing with that phase 3 timer on that full zone.
Wait, is that that is a 4-wide overstack? Are they gonna choose to exercise it?
All right, yeah, let's see.
Do it quick in the zone with no line clear delay. The combo is gonna cut though, so it's gonna be a big hit to the efficiency. And Doremy sent quite a lot over, so it's gonna be pretty scary. Do they find the ulti? No, they don't, but that's still 50 damage of mitigation.
Right, and OSW definitely took a risk there with that 4-wide, especially when they had to cut the combo in the middle, like you mentioned. And so that is going to put Doremy on the advantage at the beginning of this interaction. But if anybody can come back from this right now, it's OSW.
Doremy is doing some 2-7 over top of their garbage. They find the count to 4 to actually break out of it, and they are going to just keep that back-to-back going, keep that efficiency up. Going to be forced to break as I'm saying that, but OSW is going to be looking for that down stack too. Both players are actually going to use some diminishing efficiency just to get a better board state.
Right, and one of the things I'm noticing about OSW's stack is that he is misdropping, but he is so much faster than most players in fixing those misdrops, in readjusting, that it's almost difficult to see when he does misdrop.
Yeah, it's definitely a blink and you'll miss it moment. Doremy's gonna be using their zone right now, and OSW is gonna be gearing up for that retaliation. Gonna build that cut copy to start, very efficient, and Doremy's gonna clear all of their garbage, make it to the bottom, so that post pressure is gonna be the decider here in who takes advantage.
Ooh, that ulti is so good from OSW, and yeah, that's gonna put a lot of pressure on Doremy's board. Yeah, no, that's just lights. Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be a knockout for OSW there, and they're gonna expand their lead.
Amazing zone from OSW there, and that is what those fast players are able to do, is just get to a very calculated point on the board where they know they can get that ulti, that perfectress, and it is just such an important tool in phase 3 that we saw OSW using so expertly right there.
Very well said, and Doremy's actually going to find the cut copy on their well swap, going to build another fractal over top of that. And one of the interesting things is, when you're seeing 6-3 all the time, it's not just the fact that they 6-3, it's like the ways that they're able to build 6-3. Like, it really looks like they can start up a 6-3 with any bag, and you can really just learn some of those continuations through osmosis by just watching them.
Oh yeah, for sure. OSW with a little bit of awkwardness. That is some insane fixing to, and he's going for a PC.
They're going for PCs. They don't get to find one.
But that was just such a beautiful fix from OSW's board there, just being able to find what they needed to get that higher clear, because it is so important in that first interaction to have a good zone.
And Doremy does have a lot of garbage on their board. Pretty cheesy for phase 2, which is going to give OSW a pacing advantage here. We're going to have to see how Doremy copes with this.
Yeah, not an easy spot to be in right now when you're Doremy, and OSW has all of that stack on his board with the score advantage too. Ooh, and OSW misdrops that eyepiece into the well, forces the zone early, is going to push it into phase 3 pretty soon.
And Doremy had a lot of free pressure there if you were looking at OSW's board, and Doremy's going to have a decently efficient start, but after those misdrops, it's going to start to drop off.
This is still going to be a really high clear from Doremy here. We do see the 20 solve with the 21 clear, which is just so cool to see. And that is going to put some onto OSW's board and put Doremy at the advantage here. Let's see if he's able to keep it.
I am loving to see all of like the target mode fixes that Doremy is doing on their side whenever they have misdrops.
And I'm sure both these players are yelling at each other in the VC right now, just having a good time, because that's who both of them are. But this is still a really interesting point to see. OSW is definitely capable of coming back from this. Doremy knows that he has to play at his best here if he wants to close out this round.
And with the amount of sustain that Doremy has to them, if they can get through this self-cheese, then they could be in a really good spot, especially when they do have a quarter of advantage too. Once again, those amazing target mode combos from Doremy here.
Right, and we do see Doremy full foot on the gas, trying to build over that well and find that efficiency. That's a great cut copy, as OSW is setting up a 4-wide in zone.
Yeah, speaking of full foot on the gas, we're going to see an insane overstack attempt from OSW there. It looked like it was just sprint stacking with an offset well, and Doremy's going to be looking for that response. OSW's going to set up another side tie.
Another 4-wide. Yeah, that's a lot of garbage to mitigate incoming, but if OSW is able to get through this without breaking the combo, it could mean lights for Doremy.
That actually would have fully canceled had they not misdropped the eye, but because they did, they aren't going to get the later half of the combo that really makes it that strong, and with that, Doremy's going to take the advantage state here.
Right, and that is the risk reward of that 4-wide setup, perfectly displayed there from OSW. He is able to stay alive from that even after making that mistake because of who he is as a person, and getting out of misdrops is his middle name. But we are going to see Doremy continuing to try to take advantage of what they were able to find earlier in this phase 3.
And Doremy's going to be finding a lot of efficiency with these mini TSSs here, just to keep that stack clean. Not going to take the TSD every time, it's simply not worth it when you have sustain to keep. And this is going to be a very high clear from Doremy.
Yeah,
Oh
very
my
high clear.
goodness.
That IRS with that IP is just gorgeous.
And they are going to send a considerable amount of damage to OSW, and going to have the board state advantage as well. We're going to have to see how OSW copes with this.
Yeah, and OSW is definitely known for how he deals with this exact situation here. And Doremy knows that that is what he's known for, and knows that, yeah, okay, that's already back in OSW's favor. That's insane how he's able to do this.
Doremy had an interesting situation where they ended up misdropping a Kaidan, so they had a hole in their board, and they got a Fractal for the damage buffer, but those continued misdrops is just gonna hinder all of the options that they have. They do have a quarter, but they don't have the space to really utilize it. OSW is still keeping that 6-3 over top of their garbage to find the kill shot.
Right, and OSW is known to close out these situations very well. This is a very long interaction of OSW finding the advantage back in this matchup, and so he is trying to capitalize on it here. Doremy knows that he's all of a sudden on the back foot, finds that half zone before using it.
Yeah, that was a 61 Ultimatrix from OSW. It's very rare that you'll see one of those in phase 3. It's going to be pretty tough for Doremy to come back, especially when they're reaching the zone chunks and OSW still has post pressure on top of that, and that is going to be OSW's round.
Yeah, and OSW sets up the kind of awkward center forward there and does not even need to use it at all.
We're actually going to see another raid from Mari. Welcome in.
Hello, Mari. Welcome in. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome to the Galactic League playoffs top 6. Yeah, this is a very exciting match we have so far. So sit back, relax, enjoy some great modern Tetris play.
That was an extremely greedy Kaidan and an even greedier float on OSW's board. They had the OP spawn, but they weren't able to place it down if they wanted their next piece. So yeah, that's just the risk of trying to make these setups so high in the board.
Right, we do see Doremy getting the 6-3 garbage while OSW is getting this 0-9 garbage. So we do see Doremy at a slight advantage, though that garbage well does shift and give him the side garbage for a bit. And this is a pretty strong zone from Doremy. That is an insane curve! That is a nice curve right there. Oh, that is so beautiful from Doremy. Yeah, the Z spawn right there is just so good. That is just what these top players are so good at doing, is it's all about knowing that piece spawn location, using it to your advantage.
Yeah, and OSW's gonna find 65 and 19. That's a ridiculously efficient zone, and that's gonna cancel majority of what Doremy had sent to them. Even gonna give them the pacing advantage here. With
yeah, 65 and 19 is wild there. I mean, anything above, I would say 62 in a single zone. Like a 62 ulti is still ridiculously efficient, 69 curve ridiculously efficient, but 60 plus in 19.
And oh my gosh, that S-spin from OSW to fix their board state.
Ooh, Doremy misdrops that J piece that causes the zone to end early, but OSW has the side 4-wide in zone right now. Breaks the combo. This might not be exactly what he needs.
It was a valiant build, but with that 2 residue, trying to force it to 4 on top of it, but yeah, after these misdrops, it's going to be pretty scary, even with that quarter zone that they have in the pocket.
Yeah, Doremy might be able to close this out right here. Doremy does have a misdrop that is going to slow him down just a little bit, as OSW is able to combo through this and stay alive.
And Doremy's just going to go into some straight up LST on the left side. So the efficiency is going to look a little scary if you're OSW.
I feel like OSW is just not scared, just in general, of anything.
That is pretty fair. OSW has one of the better mindsets when it comes to this game. And we're gonna see how well that translates to skill in this matchup. Doremy does have the ulti, they're gonna find it, and that's gonna be 55 in phase 3. Very efficient, very scary for
such a nice
OSW,
ulti solve. OSW does the
tower.
TST tower in response is just wild.
It looks like OSW's also gearing for an ulti.
That ulti is just so gorgeous, and Doremy has nothing to say against this. Okay, finds the quarter zone. He's actually probably gonna live here off of this.
I'm not too sure about that. They
never
just don't
mind.
have any skims available, and even with OSW 6-3ing at the end, they didn't really need it. That zone was enough to find the kill, taking their 5th round.
Doremy survives that zone chunk, but it's the pressure that OSW provided after the zone that was the kill shot there in that round.
Once again, we're gonna see the 6-3 from both players, but very wildly different starts all the same.
I also wouldn't be scared of my opponent if I was shouting at them in a call. So true. So true. You know they're both yelling right now.
I do kind of wish we could commentate on the voice comms that they had right now. Just, alright, who has the more commanding presence in the VC?
Yeah, OSW just misdropped approximately 3 times here, so let's see what he does about that.
It's gonna be pretty scary, and because of how high their score is, they're not gonna have too much time for phase 1 abuse. So, Doremy might even find an early kill shot here.
When I think of commanding presence in VC, neither of them comes to mind.
You know what? That is a very bold statement, but...
That's honestly so true.
Yeah, we're looking at the TEC matchup, but how about that voice chat matchup? We are gonna see OSW looking for well access while Doremy is completely clean, gonna set up that Kaidon to send even more efficient pressure to OSW. And Doremy's gonna have a pretty commanding lead in terms of zone charge, and they are gonna find the zone, and this will transition.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what OSW is known for, is just coming back from these situations where in any other player, you'd be like, all right, that round is over, but it's OSW, and therefore he finds a way.
Yeah, Doremy had a very efficient zone there. That was a 67 ulti to transition. Very scary for OSW right now. They're gonna find the ulti as well for 63, so like Doremy...
67 ulti is wild.
Yeah, they found a DT cannon in there, but OSW kind of just shrugged it off, and looks like we're in pretty much neutral, just like Doremy has a little bit more sustain at their disposal.
Yeah, that TSC setup is really nice from Doremy as OSW's at the top of the board, forced to zone, trying to find some strength, is able to push, just one line on Doremy's board, and he cancels it and is continuing to stack on top of that garbage.
We're also starting to see just how scary TSTs can be, no matter, like, when it comes to having efficient stacking, it doesn't really require too many TSTs, but it is still going to throw a wrench in your plans when you have to take 2 lines that you weren't really expecting most of the time.
Yeah, Doremy hesitant a little bit in the zone because of a misdrop, but that C-spin is such a great recovery from it. Definitely, has to take that second T-spin or destroy that second T-spin to try to have the higher zone clear, and let's see what OSW has in response.
OSW finds a very quick 41, and that's going to fully cancel. OSW's going to find their 6-3.
Yeah, OSW at the bottom of the board. Yeah, Doremy's misdrop is not great. Oh.
They did find a nice skim, gonna save them some time on their down stack. But
yeah, it took
you had PC parity, and then they got sent a single line. Doremy denied it. So
sad, so sad. Would have loved to see the PC there.
We do love to see these PCs, but we also love to see both players coming up on their full zones. And we're gonna see who decides to use it better, because this looks like a pretty important interaction here. Could be game deciding. Right,
we do see Doremy going probably to set up this C-spin to start this zone, not taking the second T-spin. I honestly like that move. This is a high zone clear from Doremy here as he is trying to find some efficiency towards the top. OSW starting that zone with a 2-high TST tower. Let's see what he has for the rest of it. Some great efficiency.
Gotta find another float.
Amazing efficiency. This is going to be a very strong zone from OSW. Finding a 71!
I'm sorry, this is phase 3.
Like
you hadn't forgotten that.
Ulti in phase 3. Like, are you real?
And Doremy is gonna see the end of their garbage. It's absolutely an insane feat. The fact that they've even made it here, and they have a quarter, so they might actually survive despite OSW still having even more efficiency afterwards.
I can't get over that. A 71 ulti in general is insanely efficient, but to do that in phase 3 is just unheard of.
Definitely well said, and Doremy is still finding their footing. but it's gonna be a matter of if they have enough overcharge. Gonna find some more skims, but there's nothing left that they have. And OSW is forecasting like 5 T-spins.
Yeah, I know. OSW is 5 T-spins out of on the board. Hello?
Oh, you don't have enough T's for that. I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter because OSW is on Brazil pace.
Not the Brazil pace on this match. And like that, I'm sorry, I think me and many other people just cannot get over that zone at the end there from OSW.
And Wiley just has a amazing thing of, yo, can you imagine their VC right now after that?
yeah, like what do you say?
Like
what do you say
they have
after
us
that?
screaming, imagine them playing the game, having to deal with that.
Oh, for sure. That's definitely a VC that I would have loved to be in when that 71 ulti popped up. And OSW has like 5 T-spins again on their board.
OSW has mastered the pattern stack. You're going to see OSW also pretty good score attack players, so you're going to be seeing a lot of those even in zone battle when available.
Mm-hmm.
And Doremy's going to have that 6-3. Oh my gosh, that is an insane donation. Did have to waste a T, but it still looked very pretty. OSW's gonna be ending their zone soon. Finds the ulti. 66. Yeah, OSW in like these early phases, even in the late phases, they're just keep getting 60 after 60. And it's gonna be pretty tough for Doremy to deal with. Actually, as I say that, I realize that they see the light of day on their garbage. But OSW is ready as well. So even in this phase 3 that we have going here, nobody's at a clear advantage. Doremy has a little bit extra sustain, but OSW has the speed to match up.
Yeah, both players just sprinting this so far, which is an absolutely valid strategy for phase 3. Both of them are kind of playing this like it's phase 1 right now, which is pretty cool to watch.
Another thing is that chat is saying that only one person voted OSW to win, and OSW is looking to shut down all of the haters.
I literally told all of you that OSW is heavily favored in this matchup. Like, I said that right at the beginning, and you guys still did that, so that's on you, not me.
But to be fair, closing is one of the hardest parts about TEC, not just for a single round, but for the set as well. And especially when Doremy's fighting with the fire or potentially being sent to losers, they are gonna have a lot at their disposal here, especially when they're completely clean at the end of the zone.
Okay, only 3 people voted in general. That's entirely fair. I'll do better with the predictions next time, guys. All right. So we do have OSW on the back foot here, but this is something we've seen multiple times in this match. Though this does look very favorable for Doremy right now. Very feasible for him to close out this round, get off the Brazil pace here.
Yeah, if they're looking for that opportunity to close it, this might be it. OSW doesn't have as many skims as they want, much less an actual combo down stack. Gonna look for that count to 4, and then realize they don't have enough time and bail out of it.
Yeah, and we have OSW at the zone trying to stay alive here.
And Doremy has 3/4 of advantage. And they're gonna find that max, gonna see if they can find the overstack that they're looking for the kill shot. Gonna set up another C-spin as well.
Ooh,
oh, no,
misses the C-spin.
That might be the window that OSW needs to take their advantage back.
What is Brazil pace? Did they got beat 7-1 in a World Cup match?
So now
by Germany?
I don't actually know what the matchup was. I just know that it's called Brazil because I played too much Rocket League. But OSW, those misdrops. And they're gonna find the survival, but Doremy still has some sustain on their board that ends up getting interrupted by the self-cheese.
Yeah, OSW turns that misdrop into an STSC because what else would you do with it? Finding some nice skims to stay alive here, using that quarter zone, and Doremy could close this out.
Yeah, when you're looking for that survival, it's not just maintaining a lower height, it's also maintaining the cancel material, because if your opponent's efficient, then it is going to be pretty tough to go down and cancel at the same time. You're going to have to find that balance, and we are going to see a simul zone here, so this could be a kill shot. Doremy is going to send 42.
Yeah, and that is still a lot of garbage on OSW's board. Doremy maintaining that lead here, still pressuring against a very difficult opponent here.
OSW realizing they don't have that many skims. They're going to be forced to zone, and with no more skims, Doremy has escaped the Brazil.
Yeah, finding that second point there. I can only think about when at a LAN tournament, I had Firestorm play me on -3 nerf, and they could not kill me, and they just started yelling at me to try to get me to misdrop, and I'm wondering if that's what happened there.
I mean, they are in VC. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna assume something happened here, or this might just be elite level plonking. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, this is either elite level plonking or controller DC. Honestly, OSW, yeah, I would not expect him to just stop like that. You know,
Yeah,
like I said, they're in the VC
players.
yelling at each other. I'm sure they understand the situation way better than we do.
They do want to fight each other at their best, so I would not be surprised if that's why the mutual stop happened there. But Doremy has a very high well here, and OSW has the count. And Doremy is going to fire the zone first. OSW not too far behind in the overstacking department, also going to find another count. And they're going to even forecast an STSD here. They're actually just going to wait to see what Doremy sends. They already see the zone chunk, so if you're Doremy right now, you're very scared. But OSW's S-Piece misdrop is going to cap their zone.
Yeah, trying to find the higher clear, they're not finding it, and that is going to leave both players with an almost entirely clean board at 50,000 points. We are on pace for a zoneless transition here.
That is what it currently looks like, and OSW staying lower on the board, but with these T-spins, they're still going to find some pressure sustain, and OSW is going to find the 6-3 as well, so even with Doremy's well, OSW still looks like they have the pacing advantage.
Yeah, and we do see OSW trying to spam that attack out here. Doremy going to find a pretty high zone clear for what it is, but if OSW showed us anything before, is that he is capable of anything in phase 3, and I would assume that OSW is going for the kill shot right now.
Yeah, OSW had probably one of the better cases to zone from the bottom, and Doremy's going to have to use his half zone in a very unfavorable position. Just going to try and get through as many garbage lines as possible, as low as possible.
And honestly, that's a great zone from Doremy for what it had to do. An amazing job there.
Yeah, in that situation, they played that very well.
Amazing, but OSW is OSW, and that's what you have to deal with.
And Doremy is going to find those extra T-spins to cancel, but Doremy is still in that 3-6 stack. And OSW going to forecast a TSD there after the misdrop. Gonna see another relatively low zone from OSW here. Gonna set up another STSD, finds the eyepiece in time, double T-piece. And Doremy actually has a pretty down-stackable board here. They're gonna do some more counting and get some pre-pressure before they're likely gonna be forced to zone.
Yeah, and Doremy does have to use this half zone here. He does see the zone chunk, so we know that he is at the end of this, but this is still a dire situation as OSW is still sending that attack, and that is going to be the end of the set with a 7-2. We'll be seeing Doremy play again later tonight in that losers bracket against Shark. And that was an insane matchup. You can only assume that they're both laughing in the VC right now.
Oh my gosh. Kinda wish I could hear it.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, so here's our bracket. We are going to see Doremy playing Shark, Jaden versus Botchess, and we are going to see Uyishota OSW in the finals. That matchup is ridiculous. I cannot wait for Uyishota OSW. So fun.
Gosh. I mean, you saw both of them play here. Both of them extremely good players, and we're going to see them in the finals pretty soon.